Hello, happy Monday. This is an Angel Message Monday with a little help from my friend. I don't know if you could actually see this shirt there. It is Frida. She is a very inspiring artist from Mexico. If you don't know about Frida, can you hear that thunder? It's pretty cool. And this month in the membership, if you are in there, you know that we are really diving deep into the Divine Feminine. And part of the Divine Feminine is embracing intuition. Now, Frida was someone who knew that she was going to marry her husband when she saw him in grade school, when she saw him at school, when she was very young. She's also someone who was bedridden, once from an accident, once from polio. So she's really dealt with the struggle. And when she was in the struggle she created, she used creativity as her passion, as her livelihood. So very inspiring in terms of the Divine Feminine. I couldn't think of a better energy to really call on than in doing this message than Frida. So I'm using 3 decks because 3 is a number of creativity. Now, whether or not you identify as a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. We all have the Divine Feminine within us. So this applies to everyone. So I'm going to choose the first 3 cards off the top of this deck, this kaleidoscope deck, and you're going to choose a color. You're either going to choose yellow, rainbow, or magenta. So which calls to you? Which calls to you? Yellow, rainbow, or magenta. All right. And then I'm going to use 2 other decks. So the first one, I'm going to choose a card out of the Romance Angels deck from Doreen Virtue. It's an old one. I don't think she claims it anymore, but you know what? They're still really beautiful cards, and this is what I was drawn to use today. Maybe it was the pink, which I actually think is a very masculine color, but there's a softness in this deck that I love. And then I'm also going to choose a wordsmith deck to help you get creative and access that creative part of you. So if you are choosing yellow, firstly, I want to honor that this card is all about personal power. And to access that personal power, can you balance? The card that you get is chemistry. So, you know, what really calls me, it really calls to me when I'm looking at this picture. I really go to, chemistry is all about, you know, when your heart really feels something, when your heart leans into something. I mean, who's a better, I couldn't think of a better icon in history for chemistry and passion. I mean, Frida was divorced and then got married again, right? Like, from her husband, so who was also a very famous artist, but it's not about him today, so we're not going to bring that in. But this is like, what is your heart's desire? What is your heart's desire, and can you intuitively access that part and follow that aspect of who you are? The wordsmith card you get that we choose is, what's your happiest memory from childhood? So for you to create and to get into your personal power, I'm going to say, really journal and reflect on your heart's desire, and also think about, to get into heart coherence, what is your happiest memory from childhood? What can you think of from childhood that really, really helped you to feel like you want to make a difference, like you want to play, like you want to have fun? Do you hear that thunder? I don't know if you could hear that in the background, but it's pretty cool. If you're choosing the rainbow color, this is the Limitless card. And for me, it's all about Archangel Raziel, but also just relaxing into the infinite possibility. Now, the card that you get, I'm going to choose this one, True Love. But when I'm looking at this card, it really goes to the angel over the shoulder and the cherub energy. And I'm going to say, to access your truest love, what can you, because cherubs are very fiery, what can you burn away? Can you even use the fire element to burn away things? So if you work with subtle energy, use the fire element to burn away things that doesn't connect you to your truth, to what is wanting to create out of you, that we're only doing because we feel like we have to, that, you know, masculine way of doing things, this timeliness that's set up like this schedule. Can you burn away those things that sort of clutter up your time and space? The wordsmith card you get is, what's the best career compliment you've ever received? Describe the situation. And I love this, even though career is a very masculine-based message, it's a very masculine-based idea for me, depending on what you're doing. But when I think of career, I think of business. Now we can look to Frida's career and understand how her career, even though her father really wanted to push her into wrestling and try these different things, she was a very successful artist. It was an intuitive process. It was a creative process. So what's the best career compliment you've ever received? Looking at things that you're actually really good at and that people see you as good at. And maybe it's also looking at what people see and saying, I'm not going to do that just because people think that I'm good at it, and burning away what the truth or untruth, I should say, appears, burning away that untruth that appears following your heart. And then finally, if you are choosing magenta, divine consciousness, lots to celebrate here. The card that you get, is religious factors. This is really interesting. Is religion limiting you in some way? Is religion limiting you in some way? Is religion putting a hindrance on what you have coming forward? I know I was raised Catholic. I still really love and honor my Catholic upbringings. There's a lot of beautiful ritual in it. Talk about divine feminine, the rosary. I love the rosary. Mother Mary energy. So there's Mary Magdalene. There's so much in the Catholic faith, in the learnings that I still really grab from, that definitely and most certainly connect me to the divine feminine. But lean into this, religious factors. I'm really going to what the basis of the card is and what can you actually celebrate. So if you're looking at your religious factors as a hindrance or something that you learned that imprinted in a way that maybe wasn't beneficial, how can you shift your perspective and maybe celebrate that? Interesting, because again, remember, if you chose this, the magenta, it's all about divine consciousness and linking in. Very same colors. And I'm also wearing that color. I wonder if I'll choose it. I never remember what shows up in these when I watch them. And then the card that you get is perfect. If you weren't concerned with what other people or institutions thought, what would you like to be doing with your life? So maybe this is a matter of celebrating the history that you were brought up with, celebrating and maybe looking at what you are concerned with because of a church or a religious organization and doing things your way, getting into your truth, creating from your truth. Again, if there's one person that did that, it's Frida. So I encourage you to sit with this message, whether you chose yellow, rainbow, or magenta. I hope that it's resonated for you today. I always love to know, so fill me in. Have a really excellent week, and I'll see you next week. Maybe I'll see you for Intuition Tuesday tomorrow or Feng Shui Friday. Always a lot happening and going on in the Facebook group, The Frequency Key. Love you big. Have a really good week. Bye.